The question around sacrifice then comes down to, are you willing to sacrifice making your city better and fighting through some of these moments, or running from it so that you can try to escape?
Hi, my name is Devin Philpott, and welcome to the Refresh Podcast. Today we have a special guest, Joe Black, and his interesting viewpoint on poverty is very inspiring. And his viewpoint on poverty is about choice and how you make a choice every single day regarding to that. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get into it. Hello guys, welcome to this episode of the podcast. I'm here with my special guest,
Joe Black.
and we're about to have a discussion about the topic of poverty, and let's get to it. For our first question, what are some thoughts about poverty that affect families today?
So before I get deep into this, I just want to thank you for taking the time to sit down with me. This is amazing that you and the other people in this room are able to think about the bigger discussions that we need to have. So as somebody who grew up in the city, I am definitely familiar not only with poverty as it affects me, but those around me. And so when you think about it, there's so many ways in which we have been impacted. Some people talk about how it may impact your mentality. Some people may talk about how it impacts just your access to basic resources. To me, poverty impacts families in all different types of ways. My experiences growing up, I was blessed to come from a household where the majority of my basic needs were all met. However, we had to find creative ways to work around things. It was like, all right, just as an example of my childhood, the lights are out, so we're gonna play a little game. We're gonna play hide and seek for real. You know what I'm saying? Or we don't have the type of food that we want, so we're gonna be creative around how we make it as you're part of the process to really stretch what you have. But in a broad sense, I think poverty is one of those things that when you don't have what it is you need to be successful, to be healthy, to thrive, that's what poverty looks like and feels like for me. And so when I think about it in the big sense, right, I used to host these conversations with all types of people, and it would be like, all right, and I'm gonna ask you this. Pick or choose. Would you rather have your housing or would you rather have food?
I'm gonna say food.
Okay. Why?
Because if you be in a house and you hungry, it's just, at least you have shelter, but like you need food to survive.
Right.
You can always find somewhere. I'm not saying you can always find somewhere to live at, but like you have food, you can at least have something to eat.
Okay. All right. So then choose this option. Would you rather have the opportunity to go to school or would you rather have a good paying job?
I'm gonna say school.
Okay. Why?
Because if I have a high paying job, I can always get fired, I can always get laid off. And if I get laid off, I don't have a backup plan.
Okay. I ask those questions because to me, poverty makes you choose. And we really should never have to. I believe that you should have access to food. I believe you should have access to education. I believe you should have access to all the different things to give you the opportunity to grow. Now, what you do with it is on you. But the fact that not everyone has access is what I believe is affecting our families today. So that's my answer to your question.
That's a good perspective on that. All right, for our second question, what are some sacrifices you have to make as a parent because of those financial limitations? This question may not relate to you, but if you feel personal with this, okay.
So one of the things that I think directly impacts me financially is time. So like, not only do I sacrifice money to try to give my kids what I didn't have, the pursuit of money has also cost me time. So if you know anything about me, I am moving nonstop. I got like 4 jobs and 3 other side jobs. Like, it's really crazy how much I hustle. But with that being said, at the end of the day, what I know is the only people that are gonna know that I was busy are my kids, my wife, my family. So I did all of this work and nobody else in the world gonna care but the people that I left out. So the first thing that I lose and I sacrifice is time with those I care the most about. But it's in pursuit of me being able to give those that I love and those that I care about something that I didn't feel like I always had. So I want to be able to think about, what does it look like to grow up and not have a concern about what you're going to eat, how you're going to live, and all of those things. So that's one thing that we had to sacrifice. The other thing that I think you end up sacrificing outside of your physical body is your mental. Some days it's just tiring. And so I remember like having a conversation with my wife, and we're over here and we're talking about what type of opportunities that I want to pursue and things like that. And I intentionally chose, I'm gonna live in Cleveland. Like, I'm from the city, I want to stay in the city. And I stay in Glenville. Now, with all that being said, we got all sorts of incidents happening in and around our house. You know, right outside our front door, my kids come running to me talking about they done robbed the guy from Amazon. And so my wife is talking to me about when and how long are we going to continue to position ourselves to have these experiences. And so now the question for us is like, do we have the money to move? Yeah, it might be tight, but we could. But we also lose some of the things that make us who we are. Like, the city has given me grit. The city has given me resilience. The city has given me so many things to make me who I am. And the question around sacrifice then comes down to, are you willing to sacrifice making your city better and fighting through some of these moments, or running from it so that you can try to escape? And all of that is grounded by your finances.
So it gives you like different character traits. Like, okay,
Yeah,
I get it now.
yeah. Like, you know, every time you wake up, you got to make a decision. Like, I'll go get it. What I won't let anybody do is work harder than me. So I'm out here to get every dollar.
Mm-hmm.
But with that being said, I also know that I have to be able to take care of people. I have to be able to give people my best. And so when I'm at home, what can I do to be present, to be available, and give everybody the best parts of me?
So basically, Cleveland made you a hardworking man.
Of many things, but that's one of them. That's one of them. But you know, I'm always interested in y'all. What Cleveland do for you?
I'm gonna say Cleveland, I'm still growing up, so it's still giving me different traits. But from now, it gave me like I'm gonna say Cleveland gave me the different vision of being like, okay, we have a city, we have potential, so let me be the best I can be.
Okay.
And be like, let me be creative in my different ways. Like, let me be creative in photography, let me be painting and painting, and just let me capture my moment. Mm-hmm. And it just makes me like, I didn't get a lot of stuff given to me. So like when you said, it gives you grit. Mm-hmm. So I have to work for everything I have. And I'm looking at different role models, and I'm just like, okay, he did this from here, he did this from here. Like, you know who Los is, right?
Yep.
He's my biggest role model. Even though he's my family member, my very blood family member, he's a very good role model to look at. And just like, it shows me that like this city, you get nothing given to you, so you gotta work for it.
Yeah.
So it shows me that I have to work for everything I have. And when you get to that certain level, you always look back and be like, I built this from the ground up.
You right about that. I think we were talking about lessons of resilience. I know you wanted to challenge me on that. So I if I could take a moment, I want to talk about like what lessons helped me get to where I'm at, and like what did I gain about survival? Because we didn't spend all this time talking about what Cleveland has taught us. Cleveland has also taught me how to innovate and how to partner and how to think bigger than myself. So I remember some time ago I was sitting around and I'm like, all right, I don't know what to do with myself. So this is my story about how I done built my network. But I remember I'm looking through my phone one day and I got hundreds of numbers in my phone. I mean, I felt like I knew all the people. The problem was everybody in my phone could call me if they needed something, but I ain't had nobody I could call. I mean, I called my mother, my father, but there was only so much they could do. And so I began to ask myself, what do I have to do to position myself to expand my network? And so I started really looking around the city, and I began to realize like there's so many resources, there's so many people out here. And so when I think about what it takes to be resilient, I think part of it is it takes being vulnerable enough to ask people that you don't know what you need. It also takes the willingness to be able to figure out what strengths you have and collaborate with those who don't. And so when it came to me building my network, that was all part of my journey of survival. Because if you just leave me out here to figure it out, there's gonna be things I'm gonna miss on that journey. And so I felt really good to be able to get the people in place. What I then realized was that now that I got this network of people, it's like, what do I do to engage with them that's gonna make us better? And so I live in this space where I believe if you are able to criticize a problem, you should also be able to put yourself into the solution. And so the way I operate is all right, man, you got a disagreement. Cool. Or we don't like this or we don't like that. It's one thing for us to constantly say somebody needs to do something about that. It's another thing to say, what can we do about it? So part of my survival tactic is staying close enough to the problem and bringing my strengths to be part of the solution. All right. What about you, though? What made you resilient? Because I'm inspired by you, man. You that guy.
Some things that made me like. Repeat the question again, my bad.
What made you resilient? What got you to this point?
Different like events that happened in my life.
Okay.
I'm gonna get real personal when I say this. I seen my friends take their own lives. I've seen people lose their lives in front of me. So it made me feel like I need to do something. Like the change that I need to be the change that I need to see, like you said. Mm-hmm. I'm tired of just seeing the problem and just letting it go. And then saying like, oh, this problem needs to be fixed. Because like they usually don't come to fix it. If I go in there and try my best to like always try my best to fix the problem or be there or try to make a solution, we can be making some progress.
Right.
I'm honestly tired of just waiting for the issue to be solved, even though I'm not gonna be solved. It's never gonna be solved. It's just about just taking the problems that happened to me and showing that like, okay, I have a solution, I can get through this, and just showing that like, okay, this problem I've been going through so long, I'm gonna solve it and get this done. Because I know people around me is going through the same things as me.
Right.
So just like a lot of different events shaped me to where I am now and made me like just, okay, this happened, I got to just keep going, basically, if that makes sense.
You know, it's crazy how many of your younger experiences shape who you become. I mean, I can think of a number of them. I can remember this time I got hustled downtown. And so like, I had saved all of my money to buy some new Air Force Ones. I ain't never had no like fresh shoes like this, right? So I'm going down there, buy these shoes, run into a little scam artist. I had like $90 on me. You know, that's what they used to run for back in the day. So I put up 75 of my 90 on this little street bet. Lost it. So the struggle becomes, now I done walked away thinking, because you know, obviously when you make a bet, you think you winning. So I'm like, I'm about to double up. I'm about to get 2 pairs of ones. And I left there with none. But the reality is to this day, that influences how I think about things. Like what bets I make, what risk I'm willing to take. All of that impacts me now because of the way in which I perceived the world earlier. You know, you think about some of the relationships that you done had, some of the people that you done seen come and go and the challenges that they have. And you look back and say, man, there was so many small moments when my life could have been drastically different. And I don't take that for granted. So I think part of what happens, not just with financial hardship, but with hardship in general, is seeing that moment, that silver lining that either puts you in a negative position or that you just missed, and making sure that you learn from the lessons when you can.
That's a good perspective. You got a lot of good perspectives. All right, for our fourth question, how has poverty affected your mental health, relationships, or daily stress?
So let's start with mental health. First off, I think that's a topic that men don't necessarily feel comfortable talking enough about. And so I will reframe it, not to avoid mental health, but share with you my point of view as it relates to it. To me, my mental health is my peace. Like what allows me to sleep uninterrupted? What allows me to see the world at its purest essence? What allows me to have clarity of thought? And when you think about all the things we done discussed so far, when you're not getting proper food, whether you can afford it or whether you just don't have access to it, how that disrupts you, when you're not being able to focus because of all the things that you've seen. There are so many people that I know who have made some really challenging decisions, but when you look back at what they had to do, they never had a good option to begin with. So you make a bad choice, you make this decision, you go in the wrong direction, whatever it may be, And people are so quick to judge you on what you did to get there, but not really recognizing the decisions that you had when you made that choice. And so because of that, we lose that comfort and that stability. And all of that is rooted in poverty. When I think about my relationships, there's been a number of challenges. One, when you think about those closest to me, I already shared with you that, while I'm out here rushing, trying to make sure that I don't end up in a situation where I can't provide for my family, I don't get to spend the time with my family. So I remember, like I told you, I work a lot. My mother has this incident where she's climbing up a ladder in her garage trying to get something from the top. She falls. And so I go over there, I see my mother limping around, and I'm like, man, what are you doing on the ladder? And she says to me, I didn't think you had time to come over here and help. So it's like, yo, what am I out here doing? When those that love you don't feel like that you could pull up, take care of something simple, it would have been 3 minutes. Grab this down, here you go, Mom, go about your way. But the reality is sometimes when you're fighting to be better, you got people around you that are distancing themselves trying to protect you from their day-to-day things. And so you have relationships like that where you feel like people are either disconnected and or can't connect with you in a positive way because you're out here pursuing money. And when we think about that, that's not the only thing. I think about like my personal relationships. There's some people that I lost as it relates to this because their mind never focuses on evolution. Their mind doesn't get them to a place where they can see a problem and think about what can I do to make my circumstances better. While I know many of us are coming from various backgrounds, have different upbringings, all of that, I also believe that if you're constantly negative and you just can't figure out how to fight and be disciplined enough to do better, those are scenarios where I find my relationships falling apart. So for me, poverty, again, is all around us, but I think part of it is when your mentality allows you to open up doors and create experiences that you see the world differently, you can find ways to better manage it.
So it just gives you a certain mindset to expand and giving different connections?
Yeah, the mindset matters, but it's also about realizing that you have one life and taking advantage of every moment you got.
And for our last question, what message would you share with young people who are currently growing up in poverty based on your own journey?
All right, so I grew up in East Cleveland. All the houses, like when I go down my street, all the houses gone. There's like 5 houses left. And you remember a place that was once active, like, you know what I'm saying? There was houses, there was people and all of this stuff, and some of that's gone. And you look back and you say, man, that happened quick. So one bit of advice that I would give people is recognize your time is yours to value. I had got into, I won't say an argument, but a disagreement with someone about how much time exists in a day. And I was like, well, there's people like presidents who are doing A, B, C, and D. And the person was like, well, you ain't a president. And I said, but we still both got 24 hours in a day. So it's not about my title. It's about what I'm doing with my 24 hours. Mm-hmm. And so if I could instill any bit of wisdom in you and other young people that you connected with, it would be value your time. It would be realizing that you have the skills and believing in yourself. I believe in you. And I just want you to hear that from me. Like, man, I really genuinely believe in you. You took a lot of courage to put yourself out there on social media and say, hey, I'm interviewing people for a good cause. And so I believe in that. And I think you should believe in yourself the same way. The other thing that I would tell you is that fast doesn't always end up right. And so I done did a lot of little schemes and hustles. I done seen a lot of money come and go. And I would just urge you to realize that if you have a plan and you put money away, whatever you out here doing, put money away to the side to think about the future. Like, yeah, I know I'm grinding right now. I know I'm working hard. I'm trying to position my family to be better. But I firmly believe that the sacrifices I make today will be paid off later. And so you kind of look at a tree and you say, the tree produces fruit. It doesn't eat it. And so, like, what am I producing for those who follow after me? So if I could give you advice, I would tell you, again, make sure you take advantage of your time. The fast way is not always the right way, even though sometimes it will be. But sometimes you got to put in work and take care of yourself and love yourself.
So just basically don't overwork yourself, but make sure you get your stuff done though.
Yeah, and love yourself. That's what I got for you.
Most definitely.
All right.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out. All right. That's our last question for the episode. Why are y'all?
That makes it fun.
Everybody loves a clap.
All right. That's the end of our episode. Thank you for everybody that's watching. Thank you for a special guest for coming through. I know his schedule was very busy, and I'll see y'all on the next episode.